Anthropic released a new feature yesterday. It's called Claude Tag. And I think when most people saw it, they thought, okay, that's cool. A convenient way to invoke Claude from within my Slack instance. I use Slack. That sounds really cool. But the more I read about it and the more I thought about it, I actually started to get scared. This is Anthropic's entry point into owning all knowledge work. And this affects everybody, not just if you're writing code, but literally if you do anything in front of a computer. Anthropic is trying to own that. And so I'm going to show you what Claude Tag is, and then I'm going to explain the bigger picture of why this is such a big deal. And by the way, if you want to keep up with what Anthropic and OpenAI are releasing seemingly every week, like this video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Thank you in advance. All right, so let me show you what Claude Tag is. If you use Slack, it's effectively like just tagging another member of your team and talking to it, except Claude Tag has all the context of everything you do inside your company, and it can actually get real world work done for you. You simply tag Claude, it chats with you, it knows who you are, it knows who your colleagues are, it's able to understand all the different documents you have inside your company, it reads all the conversations in the Slack channels. It is really building an entire graph of your company. And by the way, you don't always have to tag Claude. It's actively reading your conversations in quote unquote ambient mode. So again, it's just always sucking up all the data from your company. And Anthropic isn't mincing words about what this product is. They are literally saying Claude Tag is an evolution of their cash cow, Claude Code. Claude Tag is an evolution, made more proactive and built to work with a full team. It's now one of the main ways we get things done at Anthropic. 65% of our product team's code now comes from our internal version. So they're not even going into Claude Code directly anymore. They are simply just typing from wherever they are, and that happens to be Slack. This is core infrastructure for Anthropic now. And they want it to be core infrastructure for every single company in the entire world. And again, I really want to highlight how big of a deal not only I think it is, but Anthropic thinks it is. This is Andrej Karpathy, one of the most prominent minds in artificial intelligence who just joined Anthropic. This is a new paradigm for interacting with Claude that is significantly more in line with all the other human activity org-wide. Interfaces are going away. That is effectively what he's saying. Don't go to Claude Code anymore. Don't go to any of the apps. Wherever you're chatting, which is Slack for a lot of teams, that's where Claude Tag is going to be. And let me just pause for a second. If Slack is where all the conversations are happening and Claude lives in Slack, what do you think Anthropic is going to build next? I guarantee they are going to build a Slack competitor. Okay, so let's continue. Once you do all of the under the hood engineering work to make this just work, acts across tools, integrations, compute environments, memory, security, etc., Claude basically joins the team in a seamless way. You can talk to it as you would talk to a person, and it can help with a very large variety of workloads. They're positioning Claude Tag as another member of your team. This is not a bot in your Slack app. This is not AI responding to people tagging it in your Slack app. They really do say this is a new form of employee for your team. And guess what? You're renting it from Anthropic. And he goes on to make even bigger claims. In my opinion, this is the third major redesign of the LLM UI UX. The first paradigm was that the LLM is a website you go to. So think about Claude or ChatGPT. The second was that it is an app you download to your computer. Great, you can download ChatGPT, but really what he's talking about are apps like Codex and Claude Code. And then third, a self-contained, persistent, asynchronous entity with org-wide tools and context working alongside teams of humans. It really takes a while to wrap your head around it, but it works and it is awesome. And look, a lot of people gave Andrej Karpathy criticism for this because, yeah, he joined Anthropic and of course he's drinking the Kool-Aid. He believes in what they're building, but he also happens to be right. This is a big deal. You are now effectively hiring people, AI, from Anthropic. You have to pay them for that. And at the same time that you're doing that, you're handing them all the information about your company and you are renting that back from them. They are building an information graph about every single company that uses Claude Tag. And you need to decide if you're comfortable with that. More on that later. And by the way, it seems like I'm going to be paying Anthropic more and more. And to help me fund that, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video. Context engineering is an incredibly important part of your AI stack. Making sure your AI has all of the data it needs to give you the best possible results is actually kind of a hard problem. And if you're just working in one document, sure, just give it that one document. It's easy. But imagine if you have thousands of documents and then you start mixing in videos and articles and other types of media. And as you're seeing from Gbrain and from Karpathy's LLM Wiki, people are building all of this stuff themselves, but it is not easy. That is where Recall 2.0 comes in. Recall 2.0 allows you to throw everything into this kind of ocean of data, and it can provide the right context at the right moment to your AI. With Recall 2.0, you can switch between chatting with your knowledge base and researching on the web. I can add all of my OpenClaw videos to my Recall knowledge base, ask what the best security practices are, and Recall will even give me timestamps that I can watch in the app. With an API and MCP, you can plug this into any system that you're already using and building. And the best part, you're not locked into one model. So go check out Recall. It's a great product. Use MB25 to get 25% off, and I'll drop the link down below in the description. Thanks again to Recall. Now back to the video. And by the way, Y Combinator has been talking about this kind of AI native company for months now. And they've put out videos, but nothing really concrete about how to build it, what it looks like, companies that are already using it, but they've been talking about it. And now this is what they're talking about. This is the beginning of the AI native company, where AI understands every inch and corner of your company and is able to run 24 hours a day, helping you grow, finding issues, helping your human employees be 1,000x more productive. This is the vision that they've been laying out for months now. And of course, Anthropic has been building it. This is Ankit Gupta, a general partner at Y Combinator. I like that at YC, the partners and software team have consistently built internal versions of pretty much every product I see. OpenAI and Anthropic launched 6 to 12 months later. Lets us see around corners for where things are going. So that's what I'm talking about. They've been talking about AI native companies, but they haven't put out any public facing products, and they certainly haven't open sourced anything. And I'm gonna point back to this incredible essay from Anthropic, because this is effectively what they're trying to do for all knowledge work in all companies. Now, this is the essay in which they talk about self-improving artificial intelligence. I'm not going to talk about it again. I already made a video about it, but what we're effectively seeing is what happens when a company becomes AI native, when AI is fed every single piece of data about a company, about all the conversations happening, all the processes, all the documents, all the emails, everything. It's all of a sudden able to have this incredible visibility into what the company is doing. And then you can set goals. I've been talking a lot about loops lately. Imagine if you can set a loop for all knowledge work. The loop can simply be increase the revenue of my company. And it is going to ingest all of the context, all of that understanding of the company, set up experiments, and then loop over it indefinitely. And if that sounds expensive, it is. It is going to take basically infinite tokens. And then we're at this point, and this is where it really gets scary, where whichever company can afford the most tokens, they're going to do the best because AI is going to improve their business the most. This sure sounds like the beginning of the permanent underclass. And then there was this tweet by Ashwin Gopinath, and he said it perfectly. Claude Tag is a Trojan horse, and I could not agree more. Not because Anthropic is doing anything evil, because the incentives are obvious. So day one, this looks like a great feature. Tag Claude in Slack, let it follow the thread, remember context, connect the tools, break down tasks, chase work, and act like a teammate. But that's exactly the problem. The moment your AI vendor becomes a shared coworker, it stops being just a model provider. It starts becoming the place where work is interpreted, remembered, routed, and eventually executed. Imagine if you no longer had any employees on your team and you were renting an AI employee from Anthropic. Now imagine that across the entire economy. Every single piece of knowledge work is now just rented from this one massive company. That's why I keep saying this is scary. So that is not model lock-in, that is context lock-in. You are now renting your company back from them. And yes, platform risk is very real. It was real before you could literally buy intelligence from a company. It was real when people were building apps on top of the Apple App Store, and Apple got to decide if they liked your app enough to let you be there, and whether you were building on top of Facebook and they wanted you to use their API or not. Anytime you build on top of somebody else's platform, you have platform risk, and this is the ultimate form of platform risk. It is all knowledge work. Platform risk. He goes on, the pricing model makes it even more dangerous. A human coworker has a salary. Claude has unbounded tokenized activity. That means, once again, there is a cap that you could pay somebody, a human worker. But if you're paying Claude, it is uncapped. You can literally pay them infinite dollars and they'll eat it up. And there's always more work to be done. Imagine running a company and being that dependent on another company. But it actually gets bigger and worse than that. What happens when every single company starts building on top of Anthropic? And I know I'm talking a lot about Anthropic, but that's because they released Claude Tag, but you know OpenAI is working on the same feature. Hopefully other companies as well. I hope there's more competition because competition will be the only solution for the problems that come from Anthropic owning all knowledge work. So imagine now you're a SaaS company. You have software, you sell it to other companies, but all of a sudden, Anthropic is now using their agents to operate your software on behalf of their customers that pay them. And guess what? Those customers are no longer going back into your user interface. They no longer log in. They have no need to. They just tell their agent what to do. So why would they ever? All of a sudden, your user interface becomes valueless. And so what are you at that point? You have the workflows. So remove the UI. What can an agent actually get done inside of your application? Those are the workflows. But how long does that last? Because really, the agent can just write code for those workflows. AI is extremely good at writing code. So why wouldn't it just write code to manage and then eventually overtake those workflows itself? As a software company, what are you at that point? You're simply a database. And you know what's easier than writing code for workflows? It's writing code to read and write from databases. Agents are incredibly good at that. They don't even care what kind of database it is. They will help you move your data from one database to another. They'll help you read and write from it easily. And then all of a sudden, what happens to all software? No software is safe from this. Agents are now infiltrating right before our eyes every single piece of software. That brings us to our final scariest point. Anthropic all of a sudden owns all knowledge work. They own all software. How does society continue at that point? And that's the problem. Government intervention is the last line of defense. Societally, we will not allow a single company, a single entity to have all the power. It just won't work. But there is a solution beyond that. Open source models, model competition from other research labs, making sure that whatever provider you choose for this Claude Tag-like feature allows you to own the context. You own the context of your business, not them. You should own it. And that's why open source is so important right now. You're not going to be beholden to paying Anthropic prices for every token. You can pay the best price for the best token when you have a multi-model, multi-provider strategy. So what started as a cool, convenient feature, being able to tag Claude from within Slack, is very obviously Anthropic's attempt to own all knowledge work. That is a very bad thing. But the one thing I do want you to remember and think about is this is definitely the future of how companies will work. AI and humans working in concert to accomplish things, and AI living and breathing inside of your company, not just a chat app that you go type a query to get the response and then continue your work. It is going to be able to see everything you're doing inside that company, and it's going to be able to help you. It's going to be able to make you so much more productive. So I wanted to end on that optimistic note. We just need more competition most of all. And I talked about Anthropic having self-improving artificial intelligence. I actually made an entire video breaking that down in detail. Go check it out right here.